It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's the Jill on Money show. Here we are in late autumn. Big weekend for those folks who are celebrating Rosh Hashanah, which begins on Sunday, year 5783. So happy New Year to everybody, a little bit early. And big time to maybe turn the calendar over for anyone else because we're coming into the last quarter of the year. I cannot believe it. This is actually a terrific time to really consider all the different things going on in your financial life. And we would encourage you to do so because that's what we do here at this program. We try to take the mystery out of your financial life. So are you ready to get your year-end planning heads on straight? We can help you out. Just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button, and you can write us a note. And maybe if you'd like, come on the radio show because that's what we like the most. Today, we start the program with Ann from Georgia. So, Ann, what's going on? How can we help you out today?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for letting me call in. I'm thrilled and I'm so happy to talk to you all about this. I am considering retiring. I'm 66 and 4 months, so full retirement age as of this month. And I have worked at a university for 44 years as of June.
Wait a minute, the same university?
The same university.
That's amazing.
Not doing the same thing, but I have had lots of opportunities and just had a great run. I went there for a year, and these 44 years have flown by.
Wait a minute, that's the best. I was planning to spend a year, and then all of a sudden, more than 4 decades passes, and here I am.
I know. I went as the youngest person. Now I'm the oldest person. So.
Are you a professor, or are you administration? What are you?
I'm administration.
And has it changed a ton? I mean, like the college field?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, everything. Yeah.
Are you going to tell me that the kids are smarter, not as smart? Like what generationally? Tell us some of the differences.
Well, I think the biggest difference is the technology, of course, because, when I was in college, everybody, typed their papers and it took forever and you couldn't go online and do anything. And so now they can do everything so quickly, but they're so advanced in their technology skills that, all of us who started out the other way are like, ew.
I know.
Probably time for me to move on.
Do you have that moment? I have this moment sometimes when there's some new technology and you're sort of like, do I actually have to learn this? Because maybe I'll retire. Like, I know that's very counterintuitive. Like anyone who talks about aging says, if you adopt new technologies, you have your brain be limber. Let me be clear that while I've watched TikTok videos, I'm sort of like, do I need to actually do TikTok videos? You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm grappling with that. So tell us about yourself. Let's see if retirement is in your near term. I know it's in your future, but let's see if you can do it right this second.
Like I said, I've been at a university, so I've contributed to a 403B plan there. I've tried to consolidate. Recently, I had a couple of annuities outside of that, and I've brought them into the fold.
Okay.
I mean,
how much money is in the 403B right now?
2.7.
2.7 million?
Yeah.
Good grief, girl. Come on.
Hey, you're making me feel better already.
Oh, geez, that's amazing. Okay, that's a ton of money. So that's great. Okay, so what about money that's outside of retirement? Do you have some money in a bank account or cash account or a brokerage account?
I have 2.7 in the 403B. I have 275 in one remaining annuity that the surrender date is up, and I want to bring it into the TIAA house.
Oh, okay. And so the 275 is going to be added to the 2.7, and that's all a TIAA CREF, right?
Correct.
Oh my God. So you'll basically have $3 million.
Correct.
Woo!
And then I have about 100,000 in cash, although I have to put that in quotes because I actually used that 100,000 to help my son, who just graduated with his MBA, to get a house. So I took a HELOC, and that's the only debt I have. I took a HELOC for 100, and I used my 100 in cash for him to get in the house, and he pays me monthly to pay off the HELOC.
Okay,
Now,
wait a second. How much is the house worth?
the house is he got in right before the market went crazy, and so he bought it for like 200, and now it's appraised at like 350.
Oh,
And this is
okay.
only over a little over a year's time.
Okay, so the HELOC is on your primary residence, the 100,000, right?
Correct.
And how much is your house worth?
About 450.
And do you want to stay there for retirement, or what are
Yeah,
you thinking?
yeah, I think I will.
Okay, great.
I mean, I love my house. It's paid for. It's a great neighborhood. It's, where I've lived in this town forever.
Great. Okay. And you mentioned a son. Any other kids or just this one?
I have a daughter who lives in Atlanta, and she's married, so they're both on their own.
Okay. And are you single or married? What are you up
I'm
to?
widowed. My husband died about 10 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me
That's a
too.
bummer.
It is.
Although with $3 million in TIAA CREF, I'm sure that we'll find you a suitable suitor any moment.
You think I'm
Anyone looking for a rich lady in the
I
South?
know,
We've got one.
exactly.
You know, so when you look at your retirement needs, what do you think it's going to cost you to float your expenses? Just average expenses, nothing. Don't scrimp, but that you're not
Mhm.
saving money in your retirement account anymore. What do you think you need to live on?
I would say 7,000 a month, and I don't spend that much right now.
Okay, and what will your Social Security benefit be?
Well, as of right now, it's $3,038 a month. Of course, I haven't started taking it.
3,000 a
Here's
month.
the other thing about that, Jill, I was thinking I want to ask you about, because I think I can take my husband's Social Security now, because I'm at
Yeah.
my full retirement age, and get his and let mine grow till 70.
Do you know what his benefit was?
It would be about 2,700 a month.
Oh, that's totally what you should do. So you take his. What you can do is you can stockpile your cash. So when you say you were very nice and gave your son the $100,000 in
Yeah, I didn't
cash.
give it to him. I loaned it to him.
And so the 100 in cash leaves you literally with $0 in an emergency reserve.
Really about 20,000 I have in cash.
Okay, so he owes you not just the $100,000 from the HELOC, but the additional 100,000. You didn't gift that to him, is what I'm asking
Correct.
you. Okay, I gotcha. So he's paying you back. So we want to replenish. So what I would say is, when your son makes his repayment, you can use that to obviously pay down the HELOC, and let's just keep beefing up the cash position as much as you can.
Right. Okay,
Okay.
good. Yes.
We'll get back to Ann in just a minute. If you've got a financial question, go to JillOnMoney.com, click Contact Us. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here talking to Ann from Georgia about her financial situation. Let's get back to it. When you look at your Social Security at age 70, do you know what that number is?
3,900 a month.
That's huge. That's great. So, do you have any other assets that you have out there that I should know about?
No, and that gets back to the house that my son's in, because I don't know if he'll stay here. And I had considered taking a mortgage out on that home
Nah.
and letting him rent from me, but
The rates are so like change so dramatically. I don't think that makes sense right now.
But my concern is the HELOC rate's going up.
Can he qualify for a mortgage on his own?
I think he can now, but that
Uh-huh.
was why I did it originally, because he could not get a mortgage.
So what's the interest rate on the HELOC? Do you know what it is right now?
A little over 4%. It just went up a tad.
If you're going to stay in your home, it's possible. I don't necessarily think you should pay it down so quickly, because if he's going to sell this house, then you'll have the equity, right? It'll be fine. You can just pay that off. What's your idea? What's his timeline, do you think, about making that kind of a decision?
I would say within this year, within a year from now.
Oh, then don't pay the HELOC down. Because if he wants to sell it, don't keep this as a rental. What I would do is I
You
take
don't
the
think so?
money. Take the money and run. Because I need your liquidity. You're fine. You have plenty of money. You got $3 million bucks. Okay. You're going to have as much money. You don't need this money from the house. You don't need a rental income. Let's just pretend that, he buys it for 2. Let's just pretend he sells it for 3. Right. And there's no tax that's going to be due, because capital gains rate is, it's less. If he earns less than $250,000 as an individual, he won't pay a capital gain. So he gets that money. And if if you feel like you're nice, you want to give him some of the proceeds, just in terms of like, hey, we made some money together, or you take the whole thing. But whatever the net proceeds are, you pay down the HELOC as soon as he makes that decision, and you beef up your cash position. And that's it. That's all. You're going to use that just to float your life. The thing about the TIAA, I don't mind you starting to take some of the money out now. I mean, you are over 59 and a half. You're entitled to take the money. How much do you earn right now working?
I make about 105.
Okay, so your top bracket, and how much you putting into the 401k right now?
I'm putting in $1,500 a month.
All right, so here's the thing. First of all, you can stop putting money into the plan anyway, but I mean,
that was one of my questions.
Yeah, stop right now. You don't have to do that. That $1,500 a month, use that money just to build up your cash, rebuild your cash. Absolutely. Now, are you really going to just retire? If I tell you you're done at the end of this academic year, are you going to be done?
No, what I was going to do is work until I turned 67, which is January of 23.
You want to? You don't have to.
Well, I know. My question is, how do you retire, though?
What do you mean?
How do you start pulling these funds out? I cannot get my TIAA rep to explain that to me.
There's a pot of money that's there. You're allowed to take that money out whenever you want. Is it mostly on the TIAA side, or is it on the CREF side? You know how there are 2 sides to it almost? There's one that's an annuity, and the other one looks just like mutual funds. Do you know how much you have in each of those 2 sides?
Yeah. I have $1,085,000 in the defined contribution retirement plan, and $845,000 in the annuity plan.
That's great. Okay, so you've got a couple of choices. First of all, if we know that you need $7,000 a month, and we know, let's just pretend that you're going to get this $2,700 from your husband's Social Security. So now, we need more like, let's call it $5,000 or $5,500 a month from the rest. What you can do is a couple of things. One is, let's say you said, I want to be done right this second. It's up to you. You can do this. Okay. So there's 2 choices. One is, you can say on the TIAA side, you can say, I want to annuitize this. You know what that means? It means drip that money out to me over the course of the next 10 years. And I want a certain amount every single month. So what I'd like you to do is, when you speak to the people there, say, if I retired in June and I wanted to take that money out over the course of the next 10 years on the defined, I want to annuitize the annuity, how much money a month would you be sending me? So that's question 1. And then you say to them, oh, and I'd like you to withhold taxes for me, because I don't want to have to pay Uncle Sam next April. I want you to do that for me along the way, so there's no surprise. Okay, and then let's get that number. You tell me how much that number is going to be. What that means is that the rest of the money, the $1,085,000, just keeps growing and growing and growing, whatever you want. But I think that this will give you some income over, maybe. I'm not even sure we're going to do this, but that's one way to get money out. You just tell them, turn the faucet on from the annuity side. The other way to do it is to say, oh, I need about, let's say 60, 65 grand out of my somewhere in this pot of money. You can go to the defined contribution side and you can say to them, I'm going to just pretend it's January. It's January 1. Send me $65,000 from my defined contribution plan. You'd move whatever is invested. We'd look at the allocation. You'd make sure you have 65 grand that is sitting in the money market. They'd send it to you. You'd tell them to withhold taxes. You'd get a lump sum that shows up in your checking account, and you use that to live on for a year. And you do that every year as you need it. And you can have them send it to you instead of a lump sum. You can have them send it to you every quarter. A lot of people do it quarterly. It's kind of easier on cash flow. That's up to you. You get to tell them what you want. And then we have to change your allocation just to make sure your cash is freed up so you can live your life. When your Social Security benefit kicks in and you're getting that extra $1,200 a month, you can take less money out of the retirement account. And it's really pretty easy to do. I just want to know, it may be that the defined benefit, the actual monthly amount, it may be perfect. You might say to yourself, oh, this is great. I get this many dollars every month. And that was that's the perfect amount. That's great. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to move any of this money around to do any of that nonsense. Okay. So now what I'm telling you is this. You can retire whenever you want.
Okay, because I wondered if I should take any of that money and roll it into a Roth.
No, you can't. You know why? Because you'd have to pay tax on it. And you don't have the money in cash to pay the tax on the Roth. So if you converted $3 million, even if you did it slowly, you'd have to have the money to pay the taxes due in an account. And right now, unless your son sells the house and you've got some money, but I'm not even sure you need to do it. You could dribble the money out of this account and pay tax over time for whenever you decide to retire. At this moment, what I would say is you no longer need to put money into your 403b. You should be restocking your cash fund. If your son sells the house, the first thing you're going to do is pay off the home equity line of credit and take whatever is left and pop it into your plain old boring money market cash account. So what I want you to do, just your only homework right now is to contact TIAA and say, can you send me what my annuitization options are for the defined benefit plan? They're going to give you different options. It may be that they say, it gives you a 5-year, a 10-year, maybe, I don't know what they do. It's going to be based on your life or not. I have a feeling that TIAA used to say you had to have a 10-year annuitization. I don't know if they still do. But let's find out what the rules are and let's find out what the number is. Because if the number is oh, okay, I can get 70 grand a year out of my defined benefit, that's perfect. What other questions do we have?
Long-term care insurance.
No, you don't need it.
Okay. All right.
You got plenty of money. If you'd like to discuss your financial question with us, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click Contact Us. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we love answering your financial questions, so don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and pose your question. But of course, we understand that you may have a more complicated situation, or you may actually wish to engage with a financial planning firm rather than just a radio show. And if that's you, we encourage you to check out our sponsor, Facet Wealth. Facet provides unbiased financial planning advice from professionals who are certified financial planners. That means they have a fiduciary duty to you. So they've got to put your interest first. If you would like some of that action, all you need to do is visit cbsaudio.com/Jill for 2 months free off your first year of financial planning. Okay, now we got to get back to your question. So let's talk to Carol from California. So Carol, 67 years old, you said you thought you had enough money.
So happy at the end of December that I walked in after break in January and announced my retirement.
Are you still working right now? Because you said you announced.
I'm
It sounds
still
like
working.
Okay. So let me just start with a few things here. So you're still working. How much do you earn?
$250 a year.
Holy smokes. That's some real money. That's not exactly normal, I have to say.
Yeah, I
That's
know, but my
well
savings doesn't match
Okay.
the
Okay.
income.
How much money do you think you need to live on every month?
At the moment, $9,000 a month. I got to work on that, but right now that's what I'm spending.
Okay. Do you own your own home?
I own my home. I have a mortgage. I owe $350 at 3.1%.
How much is the house worth?
Conservatively, it's worth about $1 million. They're going for a lot more up here, I have to tell you.
But you like it. You're not going to move, right? In other words, you're not saying I'm retiring and I'm leaving.
Oh my God, unless I could find a way to live in Italy. I mean, I love my house and I love living here. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's great. While you're still working, are you making contributions to a retirement account?
I maxed it out already because I think they finally found a replacement for me. So I'll be done at the end of September. But I already maxed out my 401k for the year. All the extras just going into savings now.
All right. So tell me about savings. What do you have in the bank right now?
Oh, God. Not much. I have a brokerage account that's got $175,000 and $70,000 of that is in cash. I've got $20,000 in savings, which is nothing. I have an IRA for $68,000. I've got an inherited IRA for $53,000.
On the inherited IRA, are you taking distributions right now?
Yeah, I am. It pays my property tax every year. Thank you, Daddy.
And what about your current retirement, your 401k? Mark, I heard that
my
giggle.
401k has even with my maxing out this year, I'm down to 555. And I was way above that at the beginning of the year.
All right. No panicking. So 555 in the 401k, is it all stocks or is it a mix of stuff?
I'm in a Target account now.
But it was all in stocks? Is that what happened?
No, it wasn't. I was mostly, I was 60% in the Target account, and then Fidelity wrote me and said, you might be too aggressive with the stocks and everything. So I went all into the Target account.
So 20 in savings, 175 brokerage, IRA 68, inherited IRA 53, 401k 555. Any other assets?
Nothing.
Okay. $1 million house, $350,000 mortgage, and we need $9,000 a month. Any potential pension out there?
No.
And what's your Social Security? You're already at full retirement age. What's the Social Security benefit look like?
Right now it's $3,800.
So we need to come up with some money for you. When you say my expenses right now are $9,000 a month, you say that like I need to work on that. So your mortgage is not that much. Are you just having are you having just a blast? Are you having fun?
Well, I was having fun until the pandemic. Yes, I was.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I live in California, and I have to tell you, my homeowner's insurance is more than my property taxes. It is expensive here. Yeah. Because I live in Fireland.
Right. But we still got to come up with $5,000 a month for you out of a portfolio that is less than $1 million. Yes. So this is a problem. So there's two ways to solve the problem. One is to pull the expenses down. And the other is that once you're done with this job is to do something. I'm not saying you got to make $250,000, but do you have something in your life that you could do to, gin up a few grand a month so we can help get you to a better place?
I mean, I have to say, my company does love me, and they have already offered, me consulting gigs if I need them. So I can always go back. That's why this retirement has extended forever. So yeah, they have said many times.
Like how much? Wait a second. Let's just talk about this for a second, okay? The consulting gig. How much could you make? Let's just pretend that you say, all right, you know what? I'll work through I know you found my replacement. Now, how much are we talking about consulting gigs? How much would that be?
Damn, I can make. Well, it just depends on the size of the project, quite frankly. I can do up to $100,000 a year or more.
So, oh God. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Could you do, and there's a method to my madness here. Could you do that for, say, 3 years and just live? Let's say that you did $100,000. Let's say that by the end of this year, you'll have a little bit more money in the brokerage and savings account, right? You keep stockpiling cash. Do you really going to stop in September, or if you said to them, you know what, I'll start a consulting gig, on January 15th or something. Do they want you to stay longer? I just need to understand what the flexibility is here.
Well, the flexibility is it took them a long time to replace me, and I think they sort of dragged their feet, but they did find a replacement for me. But there's a couple of projects they want me to finish. Maybe I could stretch out a little longer.
We'll get back to Carol in just a minute. Hey, during the break, why don't you go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, and bookmark it, because you might have a question, or maybe you want to sign up for the free weekly newsletter and you don't have time to do it right now. JillOnMoney.com. That's the website. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are trying to take the mystery out of your financial life. We're trying to help you take the next best step in your financial journey, whatever that is. But it is about you. So when you're hearing us talk to anyone who calls in, it's about them. And if you want the information or the advice or the recommendations that are most tailored to you, you got to get in touch with us. And that's really easy. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Now let's get back to Carol from California and talk through her retirement options. I mean, here's what I would say. I think that if you could do this $100,000 a year for say three years, and they like you, and then you're not working quite as hard, and you can be a little bit choosier. I really would love for you to be able, and you don't have to make any retirement contributions on that 100, just take it as income. If you can live off your consulting gig income, a lot of your problems are going to be solved, because we could delay you taking Social Security until you're age 70. And
right, and that would be $4,300.
That's a big number. That is a big number difference, okay? So then there's a few things that we can accomplish by doing this part-time. So you're like, you know what? You say, I'm so glad you hired. I'll do projects. I want to make $10,000 a month from working here. They'll be like, oh my God, you're so fabulous, Carol. Of course we want you. And then you'll be able to avoid dipping into a lot of these assets while the markets are still recovering. Because my guess is that when you looked at this account, everything all totaled, you had more than $1 million at the end of the last year, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we just want you to get back up into that stratosphere. So if for 3 years you could make, notice how I just went from 100 to 120. If you could make 120 a year for 3 years, okay, then you can claim Social Security, your $4,300 a month, and then we've got to figure out what you're going to live on. And I'm hopeful that at that point, you'll be back at $1 million or $1.1 million or something like that. And then we can start to draw some of the money out of these accounts so that you can supplement what you have. But let's be clear. $9,000 a month is a lot of money on $1 million, right? And we don't have to do the full, $9,000. It's just that we have to get you from the difference between the $9,000 and the 4,300 of your Social Security. Even if you had 1.2 million to generate $5,000 a month, which is kind of what you would need, I would be pulling all the money out of your account. So you're either going to have to tighten up the amount of money you spend, or you're going to have to work a little bit more for these either next 3 years or stretch it out. It's kind of like you have to decide, do I really want to try to bang it out and make more money in the next 3 years? Or would I be willing to do like 3 years, make 120, then help them like 2 more years after that, make 60, and then I'm done. That's kind of what I see as the possibility.
Or God forbid, sell the house and move to Florida.
But you're not going to do that because you love your house. You just said that. We don't want to do that. If you want to, if you love your house and you want to stay in California, which is a high tax state, and not move to like Florida or New Hampshire or Texas or the state of Washington, that this is what you would want to do is you're going to have to tighten up the spending, or you're going to have to be willing to earn more money. You have someone who really wants you and you're 67 years old and they're like, please keep working. So if you could do it and you could make it workable for you just to work a little bit longer, that will give you a chance to have the money grow, and it will allow you to not claim Social Security until you're age 70.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How do you feel about your job? Do you hate it?
Well, I've gotten to listen, it's been a dream job for most of my career. It really has been. But the industry has changed and I'm beginning to hate it a lot. It's just it's a different world now.
I get that. Look, it's tough. Also, I find that we are all a little bit less forgiving as we get older. It's like, that didn't bother me a while ago. Now this bums me out. But if you had to do less of it, how about that? That's the thing. I could do
it. I've been doing it on my own terms. I haven't had to go back to the office like the rest of the people. So I've been doing it on my own terms, which is great.
Just kind of depends on if you might say, let me just go through my spending with a fine tooth comb and I don't want to do this. This is where the emotional part of this and the financial part come into the realm, because, at some point you say, this is so annoying that I'd rather live on less every year, or, this is not so bad if I can do it half as much and it's fine and I can still live my life. What else can we do for you?
I think that's it. I do have my, all my documents are in place because I have a little diva pup that needs a guardian. So I make sure that she's taken care of.
I like that you did your estate planning for your puppy. Well, if you, like Carol, want to talk this through, even if you think you sort of kind of know the answer, we encourage you to get in touch with us. The easiest way to do so is to hop on the website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. While you're on the website, you know what you're going to see? You're going to see the opportunity to pre-order the new book. It's called The Great Money Reset. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Check it out right there, right now on the website. Okay, we'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we conclude this hour, how about an email? Yeah, we take those too. This is from Jerry, who says, I was listening to your show this morning and a gentleman called in with a situation very similar to mine. I have $2.6 million in taxable investments, $1.5 million in IRA investments. I've got $1 million in an annuity. Wow, this guy's got a lot of money. 2 commercial properties that yield $180,000. I'm 65. My wife will be 63. I'll be retiring soon, and my wife has filed for Social Security disability. That's too bad. I've been approved for Medicare. My question is, what should I do about my wife's health insurance? Okay, I'm going to admit it. I had to look this one up. I didn't actually know this. I wanted to see what happens if you get Social Security disability income and you don't actually have coverage for health. So I think the thing is, you're probably considered covered under the Affordable Care Act. You may be eligible for Medicaid or Medicare. You should check that out first. But frankly, I think the most important thing for you to do is to start gathering information, maybe just by going to healthcare.gov and seeing what the options are for her. I mean, at the worst case, you've got piles and piles of money and you'll pay for health insurance, but it will be expensive and you're probably not used to how expensive it's going to be. But this is a very specific situation to have someone who is qualified for disability income, not yet Medicare age, and also not covered by a plan through a spouse. So I would start gathering ye information and, of course, let us know how you do, because this is a somewhat unique situation. Okay, that's it for the first hour. It's Jill on Money, and we return for another hour of fun in just a moment.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome back to the Jill on Money Show. It's hour number 2, and we are here trying to answer your financial questions, take the mystery out of your financial life, maybe just give you a little bit of a reality check. To get in touch with us, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Don't forget to check the little box that says you'd be willing to come on the air live. That is what Martin did. Martin is on the line from Florida.
I contacted you because it's been a nagging thought that we might be paying too much for our financial advisor. The 2 things that I've learned is that you don't get really good information by putting that into Google. What's an appropriate amount for a financial advisor?
Mm-hmm.
And I've also learned that friends and family don't want to discuss what they're paying.
Right. It's always a little dicey. You know, it really is. So I get that. So tell us about yourself. What's going on? And let's see if you even need an advisor. Maybe you can do it yourself.
I retired about 5 years ago, and I've always had an interest in saving and in the retirement plans. That's always been my idea of a good time to read about that kind of stuff, especially in my work.
You sound like a really interesting dude, Martin.
Yeah.
Sell it better than that. All right. So you've taken an interest in it. And where did you work? Were you working in private sector, public sector? What'd you do?
I worked for the federal government. I was a law librarian.
Oh, interesting. Tell me about the pension.
The pension is a defined pension that I continue to receive and will for the rest of my life. I also have a 401k from which I began drawing last year.
How much is your pension amount?
Annually, from the pension, about $17,000.
Okay. And do you also collect Social Security?
No.
Okay.
No,
And
I'm 62, and in our current plan with our financial advisor, he has that pegged in for age 70.
do you know what the benefit is at age 70?
About $3,000 a month. I actually
Okay.
have that
That's
here.
okay. Three's fine. And you're married? You said a we?
Yes, my wife and I.
How old is she?
She's 60.
Is she still working?
Yes.
How much does she earn?
Pre-pandemic, it was a lot more, but she earns conservatively about $40,000 right now.
So on your pension of 17,000 plus her 40, is that enough to float you, or are you spending money that you've saved that you've socked away?
No, we're fine because, as I said, I started taking distributions last year from my 401k, so I get an additional 24,000 from that per year.
Okay. And how much is in the 401k total?
It's about 550,000.
So it's pension, and you're going to have future Social Security, your wife's income, you're taking distributions from your retirement account. Other assets? Do you have other assets in addition to the 401k?
No,
Okay. But do you have like a cash or an emergency reserve fund?
not as high as I'd like it.
What do you figure it is?
It's about $5,000.
That's not enough. Okay. How much? You said you're having work done in your place. So what's your house worth?
Our house is worth about, things have really skyrocketed, but I think it's just under 200,000.
Is there a mortgage that's outstanding?
Yes, we have a mortgage.
How much is the mortgage outstanding?
The outstanding mortgage is about 120,000.
And do you know the interest rate offhand?
4%.
Does your wife have a retirement plan?
No.
Okay, so she has no IRA, no Roth, no nothing.
Well, she does. She has an IRA.
How much is in the IRA?
Approximately 30,000.
So let me just make sure I got this right now. You retired 5 years ago. You got 17 grand a year in the pension. At Social Security, you'll have another 36 grand, when that all comes in at age 70, at your age 70. Your wife makes 40. She's got 30 grand in her IRA. You have 550 grand in your 401k. You're taking $24,000 a year distribution. And that 24,000, is that net to you, or is that the gross amount?
That's
coming out?
gross.
Okay. And so far, so good on that, meaning that on the 40 and 24 and 17, you guys are okay right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And the game plan is to keep doing that, keep taking these distributions until you're age 70. And then at that point, I imagine the person said, well, then you'll get your Social Security. And then, soon after, I guess your wife would get some Social Security as well. So life would be pretty decent. Like when you push the clock forward to age 70, let's pretend you've pulled money out, the market sits still, nothing good is happening. Maybe there's 400,000 left at that time is my guess ish. Is your wife going to continue to work for how long?
I see her continuing to work probably for another 10 years.
Great. That's what I need. I needed that answer. That's perfect. Okay. So now I see how they make the numbers work. Okay. It's all about the Social Security. It's the future. It's pulling money out of the 401k, paying your tax that's due, and moving on. Ostensibly, when you are taking your Social Security, and even if you kept doing the 401k distribution for a couple of years after, it wouldn't be so bad just to take the money out and pull, so you don't have the required minimum distribution and you have the cash you need. But let's just say you're there, and then you're kind of sailing for 20 years, age 70 to 90 or 95, God willing, and you pull money out little by little. Your wife gets some Social Security eventually, and you're good. And so the plan works. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you want to know, should I pay this person? How much are you paying the guy or gal?
$195 a month.
Is that a flat fee, or are they charging you based on the asset value of the account?
It's a flat fee to me, but I think that if he clients of his who have more money, he does charge more.
Okay. Usually what you would have is someone has 550 grand, let's say. You would say, all right, I'll charge you 1%, right? Or $5,500, which would be a lot more than what you're paying. So it looks more like you're paying about a half of a percentage point a year. Do you like this guy? Like, what's the deal? You know what? I think you're fine. I don't think you're getting ripped off at all. Why are you worried? Do you just feel like you have that niggling thing? Like, or do you think, has he tried to sell you something sneaky?
No, that's part of the reason why I was attracted to him. He will work with what you have.
I mean, I got to say, he's not charging you a lot. The game plan works. And he's not trying to sell you some weirdo, extra investments. There's no reason to really leave him. I mean, he's being a fair person, and he's held your hand during this period. I think his thinking and his game plan sounds smart to me, so I would stick with him. Okay, if you have a question about your advisor, we'd love to hear from you. It's Jill on Money, and just hit the Contact Us button. It's on the upper right-hand corner. While you're there, sign up for the free weekly newsletter. Mark puts it out every single Friday. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here to try to help you make better financial decisions. And sometimes the best decision that you can make is to fire yourself as your own money manager or investment advisor or financial planner, because sometimes we get too emotional about some of these issues and we don't make great decisions. If that sounds a lot like you may want to check out our sponsor, Facet Wealth. Facet Wealth provides financial planning from dedicated, certified financial planners who are fiduciaries, which means they have to put your best interests first. No fooling around. So if you are interested in financial planning, you can visit cbsaudio.com/Jill for 2 months free off your first year of financial planning. That's at Facet Wealth. Okay, now let's see who is up next on the hit parade. Let's go and talk to Maddie from New York. So welcome, Maddie. How can we help you out?
Hey, Jill. Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on today. I am looking for some advice on how to get my mom on track with her finances.
Oh, concerned daughter. Look out. Mark, get the couch out. This is a therapy session. I can tell right away.
Okay. So actually, unfortunately, my father passed away recently.
Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Thank you. So we are kind of in the process right now of going through their financial accounts and setting her up. We are going through my father's 401k and other parts of that, and we came to realize that my father made some questionable decision making. He did some questionable things with his 401k during his last year. So that's mainly what I'm calling about today. But I also wanted to just get your advice on setting her up with her new, cost of living expenses. And there's some Social Security and pension involved, and, just making sure she's going to be, set up okay.
Okay. How old's mom?
Mom is 67.
Okay. And is she working right now or not?
She works part-time for a resort. So she kind of can go and take off a week if she needs to. It's really flexible. So if she needs extra money, she'll go and she'll work.
How much do you figure, just on average, not now because your father just died, but what do you think in an annual, in any given year that she's making part-time?
She's probably making, about $1,000 a month. I would say maybe 30, 40,000 a year.
Okay. All right. I'll just say 30. Just keep it low. Now, was Dad working when he passed away, or had he retired already?
He had retired. He was in a union, so he was able to retire at 55.
Mm-hmm.
Passed away when he was 64. So he did have a pension, and my mom will receive part of that pension, a reduced part.
How much is the reduction? What is the amount she will receive?
I believe she'll be receiving 2,400.
Your dad was collecting Social Security?
He was, and he actually took the full amount because I know he was eligible for partial, and he waited, and then when he found out he was sick, he decided to take the full amount. So,
Okay.
but now my mom also receives Social Security, so she'll be receiving, like, I think it's combined, and so she'll be receiving, I think it's like 1,500 a month from them.
Okay. Does mom own her own house?
Yes. So they own a house in, it's probably worth like 200,000 at this point. And they own land that's about 11 acres. That's probably worth about 175, I would say.
Is it abutting the house, or is this a completely separate area?
So completely separate. My dad really loved Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and he wanted to build a house there. So he was actually in the process of putting down a driveway and doing all these things when he got sick. So now my mom just has the land and she wants to hold on to it. It's about 3 hours from where she actually lives.
Hold on a second. Is this like, oh, daddy loved it, I can't sell it?
It's just like it would be like selling a piece of his soul. So we can't deal with it right now with like, I'm
just going to write down my notes. I have land, PA, 11 acres, 175, selling piece of soul. I'm just writing that down so I have it, so I don't go back there without understanding that. The house that's worth $200,000, is there a mortgage on it?
There's not, but she also has a third property. They owned an apartment in New York.
Okay. And how much is that worth?
Probably about 300.
Okay. And is there a mortgage on that?
There is. So they refinanced to have a mortgage on that to pay off their land that they bought.
And so is that mortgage 175 or a little bit less?
It's a little bit less.
So what's the game plan here? She wants to keep the apartment and the house, right? Both?
She wants to keep everything, all of the property assets. Yeah.
Okay. How much is dad's 401k worth, I should say?
So we were kind of surprised. So my mom had thought that his retirement was in a money market account. So when we got access to his account, we realized that he had been investing at least 75% of it in ETFs and not like normal ETFs. I think I don't know a lot about, stocks. I do my own retirement, like set it and forget it. But they do like people are telling me he was doing like short stocks. So he was like betting against the market, and he was kind of doing this on and off for like 10 years.
Oh, well, probably worked for a while. What's the account worth now?
So it's down to 200, and about 40,000 of that is in cash.
Do they have money in the bank, or does your mom have money in the bank?
So she'll have some life insurance policies coming through. That's probably about like 40,000. But other than that, no, she does like, there's not a checking, maybe like 10,000 or so, but no significant savings.
Okay. So when she gets the life insurance, just put that in savings. That's easy. Okay. So she'll have 50 grand in savings, and let's not touch that. That's important. How much do you think your mom needs to live on for real?
She does not spend a lot of money. So I think maybe her expenses would be 4,000 to max 5,000 if she was planning on going to on vacation, So,
all right. Well, that's good because she has, from part-time work, $2,500 a month over the time. I know it doesn't come in exactly like that, but 30 grand a year, $1,500 a month from Social Security, $2,400 a month from the pension. That's taxable. And so she's probably right about there. So where is the old 401k held?
It's held with Fidelity. It's a traditional IRA. So my understanding is that you'll have to start withdrawing at 72, I believe.
Right. And so she's going to now have what's called a beneficiary IRA. Unless the law changes, which it could, by the way, she'll have to start receiving that money at age 72. A certain amount will come out. And so the idea that there's 40 grand in cash is awesome because, look, she needs something it has to be steady, number one, but also she's going to need to have distributions come out. So that I think is actually pretty smart for her. but it would be about $1,000 a month, or 13 grand ish is what it looks like based on today's values. So if she were 72 today, she'd have to pull about 13 grand a year out of that retirement account. That would just contribute to her income, and it would be taxable to her. So she'd have taxable income, which, it's interesting because in a weird way, you think, oh, I don't know how much your dad made over the course of his life, but, she's still in a pretty high tax bracket, weirdly, right? Because you would think, oh, she doesn't have a ton of money, but, Social Security, you add in the pension, you add in her required minimum distribution. Again, this is the future, so I'm not saying this is today. And then you have her part-time work. And all of a sudden it looks like, she's got some taxable income there. Not a ton. I'm just pointing out that it is income. We'll get back to Maddie in just a second. During the break, all you need to do is bookmark JillOnMoney.com. While you're on the website, you know what you're going to see? You're going to see the opportunity to pre-order the new book. It's called The Great Money Reset. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Check it out. Right there, right now on the website. Okay, we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here to help walk you through wherever your financial path has led you. And I hope by now, if you've listened to this show for a while, you realize that part of this journey comes without any judgment. So we don't really care if you're a screw up, if you're really successful, just doesn't matter. We just would like to hear from you. So whether you feel like you're a good doobie, a bad doobie, does not matter. We just want to help you out. So let's get back to Maddie from New York. How much longer do you think she wants to work part-time? Does she like it?
No, well, it's like a social activity,
Yeah, sure.
She does like to work. So yeah, I think as long as she can. She's 67, but she's like has the mind and body of like a 40-year-old. So
okay, so you think is it reasonable for me to say until she reaches that age of when she's taking required minimum distribution, she'll still make that $2,500 a month? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you want the good news or the bad news?
I like the bad news first, please.
You're my kind of gal. Mark, do you want to guess what the bad news is?
Are you going to say sell the property?
I'm going to say selling a piece of your father's soul. How does that sound?
Oh, no, that sounds terrifying.
It's not going to be terrifying. It won't be. You don't have to do it this second, but you're going to have to do it because we need liquidity. Mom's young. She could live 30 more years. So here's what we're not going to have in the future. So just presumably in the future, she's going to have maybe $5,000 a month in income. Okay, I'm forgetting about the part-time work. Let's say she can't do that anymore at age 72. But that $5,000 a month is not all going to first of all, some of it is coming in. It's going to be taxable, Social Security and pension, and it's all going to be taxable rather. And required minimum distributions, it's all well and good, but that's $5,000 a month that's not been taxed yet, and we need $2,000 or $3,000 a month extra. Essentially, what your mom needs to do is replace that part-time work and pull that out of some pot somewhere, okay? And guess what? You happen to have a pot of money, and it's called the land. Now, this sounds terrible. I can't believe that I have to. Mark, is there any other way that I can avoid selling a piece of Dad's soul? I'd like to think of it this way. And this is my own creative adjustment, so I know it's not my father. I worry when people are emotionally attached to a thing. Your dad sounds like a really interesting guy, and I know you loved him, but what he probably didn't want was to force your mother into making hard financial decisions at a time when she was 72 years old by herself. And I think that if you don't free up that land, then we don't have enough liquidity so that she can live comfortably. But with selling that land, she is like, it's done. She makes it. It's good. That land is not developed. Is anybody going to develop that? You think you're really going to, are you going to build a house there?
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, no one wants to build a house there. One thing we had thought of was like increasing, like my partner and I moving, and like she could use this as a rental income. This apartment.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about this whole plan. I like these multi-generational plans. So tell me about you and the partner. What's going on?
So me and partner have been together for over 10 years. We've tried to get married. We haven't been able to because of COVID, and then my father was sick. But anyway, we
ask Mark about that. He just got married.
Okay. Yeah.
So Maddie, you've been with your partner for 10 years. Where do you guys live now? Like, you have an apartment that you own, or do you rent?
Oh, I did not tell you this key part. Yes, we live in my parents' apartment, and we pay them rent. So this is a huge yes. We have.
Oh, you kind of forgot about that. Okay, so live in, and your mom is there or not?
She's not. She lives in the home.
The house.
Yeah.
So do you pay market rent to her?
We do not. We have a child's discount, which is probably, it's close to $2,000. So
you pay $2,000 a month, and what could she rent that for, just in general?
I think the going rate is like $2,500. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So all right, so she does have rental income of $24,000 a year.
Yes, she does.
That's big. Do you want to stay in that apartment? Do you guys plan to actually buy the apartment from mom?
I don't think we're going to buy it, but I think we're going to stay here for a little while. Don't know our future. Like we have savings. We do want to purchase something at some point, but we're not in a rush. We're kind of feeling things out.
Why would you be in a rush, since you're like paying below market rent to your mother and making her have to sell a piece of your father's soul?
Exactly. I know. I don't want to put her out like that. I
can't. Okay, hold on a second. How much do you and the partner make together?
We probably make like $200,000 together.
Oh, that's nice. Tell me more about you guys. Like, just tell me a little bit about your financial lives so I can try to make this all work as one big plan. So are you both putting money into retirement?
Yes, we both have 401ks. I have a 403b.
Are you a teacher?
No, I'm not. I actually work at a nonprofit.
And how much are you putting into your 403b?
I think I maxed that out. So that's maxed out every year.
Maxed out at $20,500 or maxed out to the match?
To the match. So probably put like 13% in.
Okay, good. And what's your actual income, Maddie? What's yours?
105.
Okay, now partner. Tell me about what partner does for money and contribution to retirement.
He has a savings that's his 401k with his work. I'm not sure what his matches or what he contributes there. He has like a IUL policy with his father. So
is his father an insurance salesman?
No, but they have an advisor, so they work together on that.
Mark, IUL is Universal Life Insurance Policy, an index universal life insurance policy. I won't get in the middle of that one. How much is in that policy?
I don't know when it comes to that thing.
See, this is why you got to get married and you can do all of the reveals.
I told him, I was like, she's going to ask. And he's like, tell her you'll call her back when
you're married. Okay. So you guys have money in cash, just like a reserve fund for the two of you?
Yeah, we do. We have like $50,000 in cash. And then we have separate brokerages that probably have like $25,000.
All right, good. This is all good. We're going to finish up with Maddie in our next segment. If you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
you are back. It's Jill on Money. And if you didn't realize this, you know, we got a lot of stuff that's floating around the website, but I'm just going to bang the drum a little bit for some of our great content. First of all, there is the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. It's a perfect way to get yourself limber for this weekend broadcast. And then we've got a bunch of other programs. We have 2 podcasts that you can subscribe to directly from our website. We've got Jill on Money. We've got Eye on Money. We've got a YouTube channel. If you don't want to try to figure out where this is on your dial, you're traveling, you got to check that out. You got a resource section. I got a new book coming out. All this is there for you at the JillOnMoney.com website. Okay, so that's so easy, isn't it? Let's get back to Maddie from New York. Can you tell us a little bit about the apartment? Because I feel like you're completely underselling how much you should be paying in rent. Because you know that they just had a report out that the average rent in New York City is, ding, 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 $4,000 a month. So is this a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom?
So it's a 1-bedroom, but it's in a really nice area. And I have to say that I had like more of a child's discount. Like, you know, as I've made more money, that's kind of disappeared a little bit, which it should. But yeah.
Can you guys pay $2,500 a month?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's do that. Let's make it $2,500 a month.
Okay.
And the reason is that we just need mom to have like beefed up income. So that would mean $2,500 a month in rent. She has the $2,500 a month from the part-time work, which may or may not continue, Social Security and pension. And that should allow her to really stockpile a little bit more cash. We want her to have some cash. So when that cash from the insurance is added to the savings and you have $50,000, I wouldn't mind it to be 60-ish, you know, to give her a full year, money in the bank, nothing to worry about. So we want her to have 60 grand in emergency reserves. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have one brother.
Do you like him?
I do. We've had our highs.
Is he the bust out or you're the responsible one?
Oh, you better believe it. Of course.
I knew it. How did I have that? Did I sniff that out, Mark, or what? I knew it. I knew there was one who's like, no, we shouldn't sell the land. No. Okay. But does he need help from your mother?
No, the other way around. He's been saving since he was working at Quick Chicken when he was 16. He's all set. He's good. He probably
all right.
Cash buried everywhere somewhere.
Oh, okay. We used to call that the money tree. You bury it in the backyard. You have little cans of money with very Sopranos-esque. All right, but he's okay. You're okay. You're going to get married. Pay her $2,500 in rent. Okay, just do that anyway because you have to get used to paying real rent. But I mean, you've gone through a lot. And I'm okay with you not wanting to sell the land for the time being. However, I think there's 2 things that are going to likely make this change. I think that in the next few years, you've got to decide whether you feel less emotional about it. And if you do, it's an asset that can really secure your mother's financial future. And if you think of it more of like, instead of selling piece of dad's soul, how about buying mom's financial sanity and peace of mind for her? I kind of think that's really what you're doing. You buy her comfort and peace of mind rather than say, I'm selling dad's soul. I think if she can think of it that way, she would probably say, you know what? My husband was a great guy, all this stuff. Like, I'm sure he wanted me to be taken care of. But I think that you've got some time to make a decision and you and your partner need to figure out, how to kind of live your lives and be secure, unless you want to buy the apartment from her, which is fine. You could do that. Maybe not this second, but maybe you just want to go somewhere else. I don't know. But I'm just saying that there should be that 175-ish, 150, 175 of liquidity, either by selling the land or selling the apartment, would be very helpful for your mother right now. Very helpful. All right. I'm sorry I increased your rent, but I did keep your father's soul for another year, maybe.
Well, I'm happy to. Yeah, we're happy to do that. This was a recent thing that we started making more money, so that's good. I'm glad that. It's
good. That's good. And you guys should be, listen, you should be stockpiling your money. You should be making sure the market is changing. I mean, rents are going up in New York. If you want to stay in New York, you know the deal, which is, you have the beautiful ability to live in the center of the universe and it comes at a price. So the question is, where you want to live. Do you want to stay renters? Can you move farther afield from New York City? Does that mean you go, up to Hubbardsville, up in Hudson Valley? Does it mean you're going way out on the island? These are all questions you ask yourselves, but you're never going to find rent that's less than $2,500 a month in this area. So at least pay that to her. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
You're going to play this for her and she's going to say, I don't want to raise your rent. And you're going to say, no, Jill said we had to. And that'll be that.
She will say that. She will.
Oh, that's good. I know she will. So when are you getting married?
I don't know. After all the stress of the past few years, we're kind of like, we don't want to add more stress by producing a wedding. So we're just like,
you know what? I completely understand that. These have been very stressful times in general, and having a death on top of that is even more stressful. So I'm so very sorry for your loss. I'm glad that I don't have to sell your father's soul, but I am happy that we can help you and help your mom. And if you have follow-up questions or things are going on or something changes, get back in touch with us. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, if you've got a financial question, this is very easy. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and if you want to join us on the air live, just check that little box at the end of the form, and Mark does all the rest because he's so fabulous. Okay, Jill on Money. We will return for our final segment in just a few moments. Be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we leave you for the day, how about an email from Ed, who writes, with the passing of my mom last year, my question is, how do I handle her credit cards in which my name is also on the account? Do I just cut them up or what? I just don't want it to affect my credit rating. Well, that's interesting. You're on with her. And so I guess, the problem is that what I'd really like you to do is notify them that she has passed away. And then either if you want to keep the card, you can keep it in your own name, or maybe you could close that account. I don't know how actively you're using it. I think you've got to notify them. My mother-in-law just died in August. I did the exact same thing, but there was no joint name on that account. So I do think it's always cleaner for you to notify these companies. There's a whole procedure. I don't love that, there's an open account with her name and social associated with it. I don't know. I don't think that's best practices. I'd be interested to learn why your name is on that. Could you not get credit in your own name? Can you get credit in your own name? Can they just make it your name? I would contact the company, the bank that holds that card. Okay? All right. Very good. Okay, that is it for the program. It just goes by so quickly. It's amazing to me. All of our content lives on our website at JillOnMoney.com. We encourage you to check it out, to bookmark it, and to stay in touch with us. That way, anytime you do have a financial question, we are here for you. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and the best one in the whole world. He's the one who puts the free weekly newsletter together. If you have a question, you can always go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Try to put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next week.